Bill Maher made an announcement that has lefties losing it. The host of Club Random podcast, Bill Maher, sat down with comedian Andrew Schulz on Sunday and said he would meet with none other than President Trump.
Kid Rock was here a couple of weeks ago, and he said, I want you to meet Trump. He said, I'm going to take you to the White House. So now we're going to do that.
I think that's a good
there will be
conversation.
lots of people on the left who will be like, how dare you talk to this man? It's like,
Yeah.
I'm not playing this game that you mean girls play.
Yes.
Where like, oh, you know what? You can't sit at my lunch table because I'm just not talking to you. Not talking to you, you lost the election. Who the do you think you have to talk to? It's one thing if you win it.
Yeah.
It's another thing if you lose it.
Maher also brought up this California leader who has recently changed his tune toward Trump.
I see Gavin Newsom is doing this now. He's changed his tune. He's got a podcast, and the first guest was Charlie Kirk.
I thought that was,
I
thought that was brilliant.
He mentioned me. He said, like, I'm noticing what Bill does, talks to both sides, like is left-leaning, but not afraid to criticize the people on his team. Like, we got to get more of this going.
This
has to become the center. This has to become a real center. Right now, it's a few lonely islands that need to like become a bigger sandbar.
The duo also mentioned that one of Trump's closest aides and his intention behind all of his moves. Let's watch.
He had a great idea that, I can go in with my Doge boys and find the waste. But the way he did it was I'm on the spectrum.
Yeah, I think there is that. And I think he is on the spectrum. And it's probably harder to relate emotionally to things. I am a little bit more optimistic about the intentions of the administration. It doesn't mean it's going to work out. But I don't think that Musk is trying to get richer.
No.
Like, I think
he's definitely not. I've always defended him on that. He does not care about money.
Yeah.
I mean,
he's got all the money. Like, I think he thinks that this will help America. Like,
I've been with him at times, and he did not have a house.
Yeah.
He was like staying at a friend's house.
It doesn't matter to him.
He will sleep on the couch.
Yeah.
Or sleep at the Tesla factory, as he did to get that going. I think he brags about, we work the weekends.
I bet you want to address that last point there.
I am not a fan of this idea of Elon Musk floating clearly above any materialistic concern. And I don't think that people who are very wealthy don't care about money. I think it becomes a game about racking up the maximum amount of wealth. And I think Elon Musk has bought influence in the government to try to increase that wealth.
Right. I think it's almost people arguing past, like he was, he's taken whatever, $100 billion hit. But he has, because he's become more, I guess, disfavored for general audiences because he's more associated with the right. But he has gotten from that political power that he wants. I mean, I do also think he is someone with conviction, and I think he was okay to take a temporary hit in order to enact more of the policies and more of the agenda he wants. That's a little, but I'm not trying to say that's like not in his self-interest to do that.
Well, that's the thing, right? I mean, the policy that he wants is less regulation, which also benefits him. So that's where I have the problem.
I mean, he also wants like a quixotic mix of social policies that don't pertain exactly or directly to his financial well-being, right? Like the defeat of DEI and wokeness and those things.
Yeah, but I mean,
I think he cares about those things and wants to have a government that does it.
Yeah.
So it's not in his self-interest or like he wants that, but it's also not directly tied to he would also be willing to lose some amount of money to implement those things.
Well, he's also someone who has changed his mind quite radically in that situation. Just this past weekend, someone posted a photo of him, I think they said it was 6 years ago, in either Flint or Detroit, where he had invited basically the black engineers who worked for Tesla, I think it was, rather than SpaceX, to come to display his own commitment to diversity, which of course he's now completely abandoned in this war on DEI.
I have also been reflecting a lot on what they said in that middle clip in terms of likable Democrats or Democrats who talk to the other side, or willingness to meet with Trump. Maybe it was the first clip, I don't know. Gavin Newsom, etc. Amber and I, who host the show with you on Fridays, Amber and I do a show called Free Media for Reason, my other employer. We were both like we had the same view of this. We think Gavin Newsom is doing a very smart thing by hosting this podcast and becoming more friendly and likable with the right, and is certainly preparing himself for a future run. And not all Democrats can do this, but he is clearly talented at it and is showing the benefits to doing it.
I don't think there's any doubt at all that he is doing it as part of an attempt to position himself for a presidential run. And it is this idea of being open to hearing what people have to
The
say.
left needs its own Joe Rogan.
Well-
doing it.
well,
he
you know-
signed himself up for the job. Instead of just saying, oh, we need someone, he's saying, I'm going to do it.
No, he's going, and some of those conversations have been quite interesting. The other thing I would say is that AOC, who we've spoken about before, did do that thing right after the election where she essentially asked people who had voted for her in her House race but Trump in the presidential race why they had done that. And even she was displaying some recognition of the importance of being open to both sides. On Bill Maher specifically, I mean, look, he's someone that I have very mixed feelings about, not only because sometimes I agree with him, sometimes I disagree with him.
You have literally mixed feelings.
I've literally, I do. But I also, I just find him a difficult person to like. I mean, even in that clip where it's like, they mentioned me, and it's like, oh good, Bill, well done. Lucky old you. But the idea that people should be open, I mean, this is what we do here. We talk all the time with people who have different political or ideological views. I will be interested to see when he does go to meet Trump, and presumably it's for a sit-down interview, how appropriately rigorous that is. One would think that with Bill Maher's audience, it is in his interest to at least be somewhat adversarial, but will he in fact be overly quiet and meek in that setting? I will watch that with interest.
It is interesting. I think more people who don't agree should spend more time hammering out those differences. But sometimes it's just, oh, we disagree, but we're not talking about our disagreements. We're only talking about our areas of agreements, because agreement is easier to discuss. I mean, there are days on the show where we disagree strongly. There are days like today where we don't disagree as much. It just has to do with what's in the news and what we feel about things.
Well, it's also because we're trying to be authentic in these things and not just...
We're not paid by the sugar lobby to spew propaganda at you like some content creators out there.
Or invent discord when we don't actually find ourselves in discordant positions.
Indeed. Well, that does it for us today on Rising. Thanks so much for tuning in, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any content. And for those of you who like to listen while on the go, we're now available anywhere you listen to podcasts. See you tomorrow.